Welcome to Planet MicroCap. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, and joining me right now is Nick Blitterswyk. He is the CEO of UGE International. It's a publicly traded company. I got two symbols for you: UGE on the TSX Venture and UGEIF on the OTCQB. And UGE International will be presenting at our upcoming investor conference, the Planet MicroCap Showcase, taking place in Las Vegas, April 25 to 27, 2023. For more information, to meet Nick, see the presentation, please visit planetmicrocapshowcase.com. And with that, Nick, thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing?
Very good, Robert. Great to see you.
Great to see you too. I look forward to seeing you next week.
I can't wait.
So we've done a number of interviews over the years. You actually just recently did a presentation at our virtual back in December 2022. But before we get into the updates and full year performance, all that good jazz that everybody wants to hear, can you start us off with that quick overview of the company for folks that aren't familiar with the story?
Yeah, for sure. So we're a solar and energy storage developer focused here in the US. So we're traded in Canada. Long story short, I'm a Canadian living in New York when I started the company. And over the years, we've had a lot of business in both countries. But right now, especially in the wake of the Inflation Reduction Act, US is really where the focus is for us. So what we do is we develop, build, own, operate these mid-scale projects. Those tend to be the most lucrative types of projects, those kind of mid-scale ones. And we have a really large and growing backlog of those types of projects that we're bringing to fruition here. As you mentioned, we've been touching base every year or so, like for quite a few years here. I think in the last couple of quarters is where everything's really been coming together in a big way for us. So, we have a tremendous amount of experience in this kind of mid-scale part of the solar market. We pivoted our model about two and a half years ago to start the build, own, operate side of things, building up this portfolio, and that saw our revenue really dip as we took the time to finance those projects ourselves and turn them on. But like just in the early stages of 2023 here, we're building about 4 times as much right now as we ended 2022 operating. And so as you can tell, I'm pretty excited about the scale of growth that we're into now as we see all these projects we've been developing the last couple of years come to fruition.
Nah, man, that was just the coffee hitting. Come on now. But like you said, we have been talking for many years, and I think I remember doing an interview close to when you guys kind of did that pivot in the strategy itself. But like I said, we did. You did a presentation at our conference back in December 2022, where you kind of were talking about how the year has been, but since then, the company has announced your performance for 2022. So let's get a better idea of how the company did for 2022. And then also maybe looking ahead, and I don't think you give guidance. Correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe there's some things you can talk about looking ahead at 2023 from what you can tell us.
Yeah, for sure. So if I start with 2022, and actually just the way that the company, the way we operate is we develop these projects, we bring them through the funnel, which includes constructing them and then operating them, and so we track that every quarter in terms of how those milestones are going. And so to your guidance question, we provide something called our supplemental disclosure, which all the projects in our backlog, we say, hey, this is when we expect to build them, this is when we expect them to reach commercial operation. So it's kind of quasi guidance or guidance light. So 2022, we added another 100 plus, I think it was 112 megawatts of backlog. Total value on that these days is like probably 300 million US or so of projects. So we checked the box there. The other main aspect is that we were getting a lot of projects ready for construction, which is the last step before they reach commercial operation. So we ended 2022 with 2.3 megawatts of operational projects. Right now, we're almost at 4 megawatts already. Of course, we're only in April here. We hit NTP, which is the start of construction, on another 10 in Q1. And through the course of 2023, we're expecting to hit NTP on probably close to 40 megawatts or so. Going back to something I said earlier, if that was a one-time revenue business like we used to, like if we were selling these projects to somebody else, which has kind of been the norm in this industry, well, we'd be talking about doing 100 million US in revenue this year. But because we're building up that portfolio, I think that's maybe one thing the market's missing right now is, you got to look past the income statement. Actually, you got to look to that supplemental disclosure and the balance sheet and the cash flow statement actually to see those kind of leading indicators of how this growth is materializing here.
I mean, let's talk about, investor. That's a good point to hit on because, I was talking with Sean a little bit, when it comes to UGE, sometimes it's like they get, some investors, they just get it. And then some are, it's just, maybe it's just, they just don't love the solar industry, right? And all the infrastructure around it. So what is some of maybe the frequently asked questions that you get that we can kind of address here?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is, so like in the private market where most of our peers are, there's like a really robust market for solar projects, energy storage projects, wind projects. We don't do that anymore, but there's a really robust market for that. We're a bit different in that we're a public company developing these projects, and yeah, there's been a couple other developers that have come along in somewhat recent times, but I think that the biggest mismatch we have here is between like maybe the generalist, microcap, small cap investors not being experts in our space, and so there's this kind of chasm that we're crossing in terms of informational divide for folks to say, hey, you might not see it on the income statement yet, but we could go and turn our backlog. We could turn around and sell that backlog. There's real significant value in the company right now in the projects that we're developing that come by the way of the rights to develop a project, which is the land, it's the interconnection, it's the permitting, and then as you're building them, the equipment as well. And I think that's the divide. So like, I would say when you go up market, you go to, call it a large cap and above, like IPP, the companies that own big portfolios of renewable energy projects, the companies, frankly, that we're growing ourselves to be in time here, they're sophisticated investors who know how to value those companies, et cetera. We're developing these projects that become that type of profile as they get developed. And so we look forward and we say, hey, that's where we're going. The analysts who cover us look forward. And I think the average target on the stock is about 3 times where we're trading now. I think that's the jump that I think we're trying to educate people on, to say, hey, there's real value here. This is the timeline of when it's going to come to fruition, and we're really optimistic about our future as that happens.
Absolutely. So you kind of hit on one of my questions regarding 2023 value drivers and what I'm the question before. So you're going to be in Vegas, one-on-ones, presentation, networking, the whole bit. What would you say is the main reason why folks should want to engage with you and learn more about UGE?
Well, I think number one is that there's this massive tailwind in our industry, right? And that's true for the overall solar and energy storage industry. It's even more true in the wake of the Inflation Reduction Act. And number two is we're a company that's been around 14 or so years. We really know what we're doing. We've also added a number of really great folks to the team over the last couple of years as well. I think we're really well placed to capitalize on that tailwind. And then number three is we actually already have this large and growing backlog of projects, which we report on at least every quarter. People can look to that and say, hey, there's a lot of value coming down the pike here as a company executes on that. So yeah, I think we're really well placed for this kind of energy transition that's well underway.
Very good. Well, Nick, with that, where can our audience go find more information on UGE?
So UGEI.com, and you also can follow us on Twitter, of course, for updates there as well.
Very good. Well, Nick, thank you so much for joining me here today. Really do appreciate it. Good luck. Stay safe. And I'll see you in Vegas.
Sounds good, Robert. Thank you.
Thank you.